Hey everyone, I am so thrilled you're joining me for this explainer today because we are going on a really incredible journey. We're going to discover a secret formula. Seriously, God's secret formula for true, lasting joy. Now, happiness is something we absolutely all want, but so often it kind of feels like it just slips right through our fingers. Well, today we're looking at a beautiful text called the Girdle of Gladness, and it is going to completely change the way you think about feeling joyful. Okay, let's dive right into this. I want you to take a second and ask yourself a really honest question. Where do you actually look for happiness? Think about times you've really, really wanted something. Maybe it was a brand new toy, a new video game, or just, the freedom to play outside all day long. You probably thought, man, if I just get this one thing, I'm going to be so happy. But then you got it, and the excitement just kind of faded, right? So why does that happen? Well, it happens because so often we're looking for happiness in the exact wrong places. We think it's out there in a store, but it's actually so much closer to home. Section 1. The happiness mistake. We often think making ourselves the center of absolutely everything is going to make us happy, but our source text tells us the exact opposite. It says true happiness is absolutely not found in selfish gratification. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying doing whatever you want, whenever you want, just for yourself. Instead, true happiness is found in the path of duty. Now, I know duty might sound super boring, kind of like doing homework, right? But it actually just means following God's rules. God desires for us to be happy. That is literally why he gave us his rules in the first place. He knows that by obeying them, we experience actual deep joy, both at home with our families and when we're out in the world. I absolutely love this next verse from the Bible. It's Psalm 30, verse 11. Thou hast turned for me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness. Think about what it actually means to be girded. A girdle, or a belt, is something you wrap tightly around yourself. When God girds us with gladness, it's like he's giving us a special superhero utility belt of joy. It wraps all the way around us, protects us from sadness, and actually turns our mourning into dancing. But how do we put this awesome belt on? Section 2. The power of little things. We tend to think that to be truly happy, something massive and spectacular has to happen. Like winning a giant prize or going on a huge, epic vacation. Now, what's really interesting about this is that the secret of gladness is actually found in our everyday actions. People often fail to find happiness simply because they neglect little duties and little courtesies. Little duties are just your everyday chores: cleaning your room, helping with the dishes, feeding the dog. And little courtesies, that's simply being kind. Saying please, saying thank you, smiling at a friend, or maybe letting someone else go first in line. We overlook these all the time, but these small, everyday actions are the real foundation of happiness. When we do them tearfully, we're actually building up that superhero belt of joy. And look at this incredibly beautiful picture painted by the text, with its tendrils entwined about God, the soul will flourish. Imagine a little green plant with these tiny vines that reach out and wrap tightly around a strong, sturdy fence so it can grow really tall. We're exactly like that plant, and God is our strong support. When we hold tight to God and choose to do the right thing, even when it's super hard, our soul is going to flourish. We'll stay happy and strong even if people around us are making bad choices or behaving poorly. We absolutely don't have to let the bad moods of others pull us down because we are wrapped tightly around God. Section 3. The living fountain. Our source uses water to show us how our spiritual life works inside our hearts, and it gives us two very different choices. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole concept. On one side, we have stagnant water. That's water that just doesn't move. It sits there, it gets gross, and it turns into a muddy, smelly puddle. Yuck, right? Well, that is exactly what happens inside us when we build up barriers with our own selfishness. Think about how yucky it feels when you're just focused on wanting everything your way. But on the other side, we have the living fountain. When we let Jesus' love flow into us, we become a well of fresh, sparkling water springing up into everlasting life. That rushing water is so incredibly powerful that it literally sweeps all the selfishness right out of our hearts. The text mentions something really fascinating right here. It says a lot of people build up these huge barriers between themselves and Jesus, blocking his love. And then, this is the crazy part, actually, scratch that, it's more silly than crazy. They sit around and complain that they don't see the sun of righteousness. The sun of righteousness is the beautiful, warm light of heaven. When we're selfish, we are literally building brick walls that block out the sun, and then we sit in the dark and complain that it's dark. It makes no sense when you think about it. The solution? Just forget self, live for Jesus, and that heavenly light will immediately bring gladness right to your soul. Section 4. Putting on gladness. Okay, so we've talked about doing our chores and breaking down those selfish barriers. Now we need to take a look at our minds. We actually have the power to open the floodgates to incredible joy just by choosing what we think about. So the crucial point is, what should we focus on? First, the fact that Jesus died to bring heaven within our reach. That alone should make us so incredibly grateful. Second, we should look at the absolute beauty spread before us in God's created works. The huge trees, the mountains, the cool animals. We should also dwell on God's great mercies and never, ever forget his smaller, everyday gifts. Making these things our constant focus absolutely guarantees a happy heart. Let's see how this builds into a really powerful daily choice. Look at this stark contrast. If we let our thoughts get totally engrossed with the troubles and trifles of earth, which really just means worrying about small, annoying things, or getting super upset over silly little earthly problems, our hearts instantly fill with gloom and dread. We've all been there, getting mad over something tiny that doesn't really matter in the long run. But if we set our affections on things above, something magical happens. The voice of Jesus speaks absolute peace to our souls. All our complaining and murmurings completely cease. All those vexing, annoying little thoughts, they just fade away, lost in praise. So let's bring this whole thing together. True happiness isn't hiding from you. It's not found in getting exactly what you want exactly when you want it. It's found on the path of duty. When we do our everyday chores with a great attitude, when we show little courtesies like just saying please and thank you, and when we purposefully choose to look at the beautiful nature God created, that is when we successfully equip this amazing joy. We put on that superhero girdle of gladness, and we literally make melody in our hearts. So I want to leave you with this one final, absolutely crucial question. You have the power to open the floodgates of your own mind today. What will you choose to focus on? Are you going to focus on selfish desires and little earthly troubles that just bring gloom? Or will you choose to focus on God's beautiful mercies, obey his path of duty, and put on your very own girdle of gladness? The choice is entirely up to you. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. I'll catch you next time.